talking about entrepreneurs, basically we have to see who's an entrepreneur. We talked about Jugaad, we talked about innovation, So I will suggest you read a book. It's named Jugaad. I hope some people have already read it. It just shows that in India how out-of-box thinking has been institutionalized and how a lot of business sense is coming out of that. So this is just to keep a link with what Mr. Goyal had said. Basically, when you look at entrepreneurs, what we think of an entrepreneur as a person who has invested money, who has come out with an idea, and he sets up a business. But we don't talk about the people who work with him, his team, his employees, his stakeholders. I will suggest that they are all entrepreneurs, And unless this approach is there, that the entire team is considering itself as an entrepreneur, the entrepreneurship really does not lead to where it should go, or it takes time, So who makes an entrepreneur? Let's have basically there are three basic means which an entrepreneur should have. We must know who they are, their traits, their tastes, their abilities. What they know, that is their education, the training, expertise, experience, and whom they know, their network. Because network also matters. The more you know, the more you can sell. The more you know, more you can communicate, more you can publicize. Basically, an entrepreneur's success lies in producing and then selling, and then keeping that cycle on. And everything flows from that. So an entrepreneur has to, this is one aspect of looking at it. Then secondly, I will say that entrepreneur has to have the capability to plan. And plan, like he has to plan how much of loss he can bear. His affordable loss. His capacity to come into strategic partnerships. His capacity to leverage contingencies. I will say contingencies, his capacity to crisis management, his capacity to problem solving, all these things, it can be seen like that. So if you look at all these parameters, then basically you can sum up that an entrepreneur, if he has the following attributes, he would be very successful. And that will make him more entrepreneurial. Like, he has to be very tenacious. Tenacious, I mean, he should not give up. वो कहते हैं ना हार ये न हिम्मत, मतलब एक MSME प्रोजेक्ट को चलाने में कभी कभी ऐसा स्टेज आता होगा कि जब लगता होगा कि अब सब कुछ खत्म हो रहा है. But entrepreneur, the person behind it, he has to keep himself on to the job. He should not give up. He also has to be street smart. He should be able to get out of a situation which is difficult for him. He should be able to understand his customers much better than understanding his books, basically. So he has to be very, very street smart. He has to improvise. He has to make his product or market fit to the requirements, the demands that is there. He has also to be resilient. Entrepreneurs are the biggest survivors. So he has to be resilient. Inspiration is a very important part of the MSME ethos, and the person has to be really charged with some idea, some concept as to take him forward. So he has to be inspired, and he has to be perspiration. Basically, he has to be a very committed, hardworking, and it's very easy for us to come to a conference and give a lecture and go back. But those who are running a business, they must be knowing how difficult it is to run a successful business, to build a successful business and run it thereafter. It takes a lot of effort, So I'm sure those who are from the MSME, those who are here, they will agree with me. Then willingness to accept risk. I will say that an MSME entrepreneur in the world today, he is the biggest risk taker, because he risks everything and he starts a business not knowing where it will lead to. And then he has also, over a period of time, over a period of process, he learns how to manage the risk. Then his attention to details is another capacity that he should have. He should have a range of his understanding should be, range of his thought should be from macro perspective. He must know the economic scenario of the situation that he is working in. Plus, then he also has to have the capacity to go into micro details. He has to understand how a particular process runs, what is the cost involved in a particular process. So basically, he has to be a master of all. He has to be very, very competitive. Competition has to be there. Then only he can that can lead to growth. Decisiveness. He has no time to brood over or think over. He has to decide. I mean, all others can take a time to decide. An entrepreneur, an MSME entrepreneur, he has to decide right there, either this way or that way. Domain experience I have already talked about. He has to be expert in that area. And foremost is that integrity and honesty of an entrepreneur. It takes him a long way. It takes him in building up his business. It takes him long in presenting a good picture to the investors, because most of the venture capitalists or the private equity investors, when they look for investing in a MSME, they look at the integrity and the profile of the entrepreneur. So basically, all these criteria or the attributes of an entrepreneur leads us to think that is it possible to have an entrepreneur, have a person like this? No, I will say no. If you look for all these qualities in a person, probably we may find very difficult. But yes, this need is met when you compile a team, when you have a team, you form a team who have these attributes, and then they share this, and then the process goes on. Basically, when I'm talking about entrepreneurs' capabilities, I am reminded of a quote by Bernard Shaw. He once said about others, he said, they see things which are there and ask why. I dream of things which are not there and ask why not. An entrepreneur has to dream like that. He's a dreamer. He has to go ahead and proceed on that line. Now, I'm from State Bank of India, and I would like to, basically, an entrepreneur's success depends on the finance. That's a very integral part of his activities. And not only, and I would like to this audience, I would like to advise them as to how banks in this country or all over the world, they have been an integral part of the MSME growth process. And specifically, we say that how State Bank of India has been taking this MSME story forward in this country. So, as you know, I will just take some time talking about the banking sector, the State Bank of India's role in MSME growth, and then I will be open to questions from you. India is one of the top 10 economies globally, with vast potential for the banking sector to grow. Our banking industry is worth about $81 trillion. US banking industry is about $1.34 trillion. And India government's role is expanding. The banking industry has been significant. With the financial inclusion, now we are targeting to reach every nook and corner of this country. And banking connectivity has increased more than threefold to about 2,11,234 villages in 2013 from 67,694 before a few years back. So the market size is there and banking sector is growing. So we as a bank, we have a portfolio of 1,76,950 crores, our exposure to the MSME sectors. And our range is wide. We finance the micro industries which have requirements as low as 50,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, to MSMEs which we have financed for hundreds of crores. Innovation and new products, we have developed risk mitigated products like asset-backed loan, fleet finance, POS-linked current account with overdraft, which have been launched, and they are meeting the needs of various segments of customers, We are into this relationship banking in MSME, wherein we dedicate an outbound sales person who is taking care of the MSME account that he has got. And this has proved very successful. We have had a lot of success stories. We also have made specialized SME branches which provide specialized services to SME entrepreneurs. There are 579 branches with a predominant portfolio of SME advances, and they are branded as SME advances branches. We also, Government of India, along with banks and RBI, they have come out with a scheme wherein the SME accounts less than 1 crore, they don't have to offer any collaterals. So this is called CGTMSE schemes, and banks in general have done very well. As for State Bank of India, as on date, we have about 9,740 crores exposure in such loans where collaterals have not been taken, and the number of customers is 2.09 lakhs. We provide to the SME units which have lot of cash generation. We provide cash pickup facilities to them. We have supply chain finance. We have our relationship with almost all. We have got into understanding MOU with almost all the top industry majors, whether they are in auto, they are in electronics, they are in finance, FMCG, and we have committed ourselves, and we are doing very well in providing supply chain finance all across the line. So with this, I feel that I've been trying to give you a brief picture of how SBI is State Bank of India, which is our largest commercial bank. It's showing its commitment to the MSME sector, and it's making a lot of headway in growing, and we see that future is very bright. Enterprise in India with such a young population is definitely, the sense of enterprise is going to grow, and our banks, as a public sector bank, we are committed to take this forward. Thank you very much.